Welcome to March 2 of the pod presented by Eternal Roofing. We are your consistent source for Sam Houston athletics. We're in episode, I believe it's 7. It could be 8. I don't know, Ben, but I know it's titled Broken Offense and Broken Bones. And we're going to discuss all that this week when we recap another dismal performance by the offense and talk about the environment around the game at NRG Stadium. We're going to discuss what can be done to fix the offense, and we close with where we see the Cats slotting in Conference USA after the first 2 weeks. I'm your host, Cory Hogue, the non-FBS insider at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Find me on your favorite social media channels at Cory Hogue Sports. It's all one word, CORYHOGUE Sports. I'm joined by the creator and manager of Sports of SHSU on Twitter and Instagram. Again, all one word, Sports of SHSU, the chief operating officer of Cat Fund, proud Bearcat alum, Ben Sorrells. Man, broken offense, check. Broken bones, you took care of that, man.
I did. I made sure to take care of the latter. Sam Houston football took care of the former. Yeah, it was a rough weekend. Obviously another 13-3 loss, or a second loss score of 13-3, and I ended up with a nice broken elbow in the process as well. So it was one heck of a weekend for me, and it was an interesting weekend for Sam Houston football, to say the least.
So you broke your elbow like during the game, like you were angry and you smashed it, or?
Yeah, that I don't know if that sounds as cool as what I actually did. It was the playoffs of my men's basketball league, the local men's basketball league, the semifinals, and yeah, about 4 minutes left in the game, got tripped up, fell, broke my elbow. That was Thursday night late, got back from the ER, got back home about 3:30 in the morning on Friday, so wasn't able to make the game Saturday. Was the first NRG game I've missed since 17, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really miss too much from what it looks like.
Well, I'm sure you're forgiven for missing the game,
I hope so.
Considering all that. But man, that you talk about an epic way to leave the semifinals of the men's basketball league, right?
Oh yeah, I mean the highly esteemed local men's basketball league that everybody's talking about, I'm sure.
I bet they are after looking at your elbow.
That's the biggest storyline to come out of there. That's how important it is.
Hey, you know what? I got a message. Matt Sanamore, he said I had to. This is how I found out about your injury, actually, because Matt Sanamore sent me a picture of a social media post you were in and said, Eternal Roofing can probably fix your elbow. And I said, that is the most brilliant thing I've heard in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was a really good spin. I mean, that's one of the best spins on it to get into an advertising pitch I've ever seen. But yeah, he did comment that on my wife's post talking about how I did break my elbow. So yeah, that was funny. And we definitely appreciate Matt and connecting us with Taylor at Eternal Roofing and getting that connection going and having a little fun with it also.
Oh, definitely. And if you do need things repaired, not your elbow, they don't do orthopedic surgery, but they can do surgery on your roof. They can do surgery on your house with their general contracting skills throughout the Hill Country and the Houston area, anywhere in the state of Texas. Just put it that way. They offer free detailed roof inspections, fast and professional service, no high pressure sales pitch, exceptional workmanship warranties. Contact Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com. That's Taylor, Taylor, at eternalroofingtx.com. If you want to catch them on the phone, dial 936-215-8539 for the Montgomery office, or 830-251-5673 if you're in the Hill Country. But no matter what, if you need roofing, general contracting, Ben, there's only one name you call if you're a Sam Houston fan, especially if you listen to this podcast.
Yeah, and that is Eternal Roofing. Make sure they do it so you don't have to. Whether you have a broken elbow or not, I think they're the place to go to. Don't need to do it yourself. Let them take care of it.
Just don't call Taylor, though, and ask him if he can fix elbows.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, we don't want to get flagged for false advertising.
That's right. We are a podcast on the Republic of Football Network, who also doesn't want to get flagged for false advertising, and an extension of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Please like and subscribe to the podcast and follow us on the various social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at March to the Pod. It's one word. Again, that's a theme in this show. One word. March, the number 2, the Pod. And hello to those of you watching us on Dave Campbell's YouTube page. We appreciate you watching on there. We have a great fan base, Ben. And that fan base, I feel like we got Blue Falconed last weekend.
A little bit.
If you understand the reference, some of that Blue Falconing might have been done on ourselves. It was a tough loss to Air Force. But 26 points. If you would have told me, Ben, before the season started, that Sam Houston defense has only given up 26 points
27
combined, 27.
Yeah.
27 points combined to Air Force and BYU, I would have told you they're at least 1-1.
I would have thought the same thing too. And just to read off, just to kind of brag on the defense, because I know the offense, we'll talk about it in the review of the game, and we'll talk about it individually too.
Offense, go sit in the corner. Okay, we'll get to you in a minute. Right now, we're going to get to the people who are providing things to the standard we expect here at Sam Houston, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the straight A students. Yep. So just a couple of quick facts. So giving up 13.5 points per game, which is ranked 26th nationally. And you got to recognize a lot of FBS schools have only played one FBS game. They've played an FCS team or maybe another really crappy FBS team. Sam Houston's schedule's been tough. So 13.5 points per game, 26th nationally, 257.5 yards per game, 23rd nationally. ESPN have them ranked 19th in defensive efficiency out of all FBS schools, and then they've held 8 of the last 11 opponents going back to last year under 21 points. So like you said, if you would have showed me those stats coming into this year against 2 very good teams, an 8-5 last year BYU team, Air Force team that consistently wins 10 plus games, I would say, yeah, we're at least 1-1, even with the known offensive struggles coming into this year. But as great as it's been, it hasn't been enough, and we're here at 0-2, and that's kind of where we are.
As good as the defense has been, it hasn't been good enough. Does that apply to the atmosphere outside NRG this weekend?
Yeah, outside, and well, I can't really speak a ton to outside. I wasn't there like we talked about, but from what I heard inside, man, I mean, the listed attendance was a little over 25,000, but it didn't look anywhere near that. I'd probably say 17 or 18 is my best guess. And it just seemed like there was no juice there. There was no energy. Obviously, the offense wasn't very good. That kind of fuels the fan energy and momentum. But man, it just didn't seem like there was any juice there. It was just kind of dead the entire night. And yeah, honestly, it was a little disappointing to watch it on TV. I mean, no one was standing on third down. There were some big possessions there, even into the fourth quarter. So yeah, I mean, just the kind of the atmosphere around the game was a little disappointing, considering how good it had been there the past couple of years. I mean, being there the last 4 or 5 years, I mean, every third down, no matter what the score was, people were getting on their feet and getting loud. And part of that is the hate for SFA, but I think there's a big reason to get excited for this game. I mean, we were in this game for 45, 50 minutes. And so that's a reason to get on your feet and cheer. And so if you do go to games, that's great, but also get involved, be loud, stand, get involved in cheers and chants and whatever it might be, because we need that energy in the stadium for this team.
Okay. Turn on the recording, Ben, because it's time. It's time to give the fans a speech after their week 1 performance, because this is week 1 for them. It was their first home game.
Yep.
It was your chance to show out, and we didn't do very well. You weren't loud enough. You're not into it. I get it. I understand. The offense stinks. No sugarcoating. Until they start moving the ball, scoring points, and running the ball, this offense stinks. Not fun to watch. But you have a choice. You can either sit on your hands and be negative and watch your Cats lose, because that energy is what is felt by the players on the field and the coaching staff, or Somebody's got to be positive. Players are having a hard time being positive. It's not working. They're living it, right? They're working harder than anybody. It's not working right now. It's hard for them to stay positive. It's hard for the coaches to stay positive right now. It's hard for you, the fan, to stay positive as well. But now is when the Cats need you the most. Now's when they need you to come out there and to give them your support. You remember the national title game in Frisco? You enjoyed it. You had fun. Heck of an atmosphere. You remember the last Battle of the Piney Woods last year? Amazing. Incredible. The problem is you're not doing it every game. You've got to be, you want the football team to be consistent. We need you to be consistent as well. And we need you to lead the positivity, because that's the only way at this point anything is going to get changed with this team, with this offense.
Yeah, and yeah, and just to echo that sentiment, whether it be in person at a game or at the tailgate, whatever it might be, and especially like on social media, I mean, people are completely giving up on this team, writing them off, saying this is the worst move we've ever made to the FBS. This team is a joke. It's a clown show. I mean, those are just some of the things I've heard. But I mean, as bad as the offense has been, this team has been in games against some of the best teams in the country for almost all 60 minutes. And if you can add some juice to that environment, that might be able to help the team. And so let's not give up on this team yet. They've played two really good teams, and despite how bad the offense has been, they've still been in it. There's stuff to look forward to. I mean, FIU is not Air Force. UTEP is not BYU. There are opportunities to win games. So let's stay positive. Let's support this team. Constructive criticism is fine, but to say let's fire everybody and give up on everything through 2 weeks when we've been in games against two really good teams, I think is a huge overreaction. Just need to stay the course, support these teams, and show up. So that's my advice.
You know who else isn't as good as BYU and Air Force?
Houston to this point.
Houston, but that's a topic for next week.
Yeah.
Listen, you're in Houston next week. Why don't you go own that stadium? They're negative around that team. I promise you, the Cougars fan base is negative. How bad would that game be to attend if you've got two negative fan bases in the stands? It's going to be, who wants to go to a game where and just hate life? Don't do that.
Yeah. Bring
Go
the
have
juice.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes, be the energy that you want to see on the field. When the offense gets a first down, let them know you appreciate the work it took to get that first down. When the defense is on third down, let them know you got their back. And when they come off the field, let them know you appreciate them. That positivity will build. It will build around the program. It will build around the team, and you will see things happen better, at least when you're at home. Maybe not on the road, but at least when you are in your own building. That's the key to these places that have, you think Seattle, right? The NFL. It's that positivity those fans bring when they're good that makes that a hard place to play. Go be supportive, guys. It's the least you can do as a fan.
It is. And I mean, even that crowd at BYU, I mean, that was unbelievable. I mean, I know our offense isn't great, but the first drive of the game, I mean, we're fumbling the snap, can't hear calls at the line. I mean, if we can create anywhere near that kind of environment, I think it's going to be a huge advantage for our team, and then they can just feed off it from there. So, yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of room to build when it comes to the team, definitely a lot of room to build when it comes to the fan atmosphere. So, just got to keep pushing and keep working.
You know, I do want to say this. I talked to a lot of coaches around the entire state of Texas. And when Sam Houston is brought up right now, it's not a positive as far as what they're hearing from fans connected to Sam Houston. That's got to change. You know, I get it. Hey, we lost. The offense isn't good, but you know what? That defense right now, that's a top 20 defense in the country. Your first season. The offense is struggling. Hopefully we can get, I don't know, we're going to get into maybe how we can figure that out if we can. But I mean, you know, that's the minimum, Ben. But be 13 points. You've lost by combined, what, 27, 24, 21 points. Like, you haven't lost these games by much. It's incredible to me that you are here. You have played two established, known, solid Power 5, Group of 5 programs. Two teams that are always in a bowl game. And that's where you want to be. And you battled those teams, and you had chances in both games. You only lost by just a few points.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. You're so close.
Yeah, and everybody, I would say 99.9% of people in the fan base, outside the fan base looking in, had us 0-2 after 2 weeks. And here we are at 0-2, and the sky is falling, and everything is ruined, and it's the worst year ever, and we need to set everything on fire and restart over. So, I mean, we knew this was probably coming. There's a lot of good on defense. There's a lot of bad on offense. We thought maybe it would be somewhere in the middle, but I mean, we knew we were probably going to be 0-2, and here we are. I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, this was expected.
How is this worse? I really want to know. If you're listening to this and you're like, okay, Cory, Ben, I'm not hearing it, man. They stink. I don't want to hear that. Would it have been better? What score would you have accepted them losing by? How many points? What kind of point spread? Would you have felt better if it was 56-21? Would you have felt better if it was 35-21 or 27? Would you really felt better? Because now your defense is going to have question marks, right?
Yep.
Either way, I don't know. I don't know what point spread you're looking for if this isn't enough.
Exactly. I mean, as the offense is terrible, the defense is great. Let's hope we can meet somewhere in the middle and win some games. I mean, I would take a 14-0 loss over a 56-21 loss. I mean, we were in that game the entire time, and we have something to lean on, and that's our defense. So, yeah, we'll see. The sky is not falling.
No, it is not at all. And let me say this, Ben, because we're gonna move forward. We're not here. First off, we love you if you're listening and you're a fan of Sam Houston. We absolutely appreciate you and love you, and we understand, because we also feel the same disappointment, the same frustration and everything. And that's why this next leg, we're going to get into that. And it's not going to be pretty. And if anyone on the team is listening to this, I'm sorry, the truth hurts today when it comes to the offense.
Yes.
All right. That's just how it is. We're getting there. It's Ben, I know it's hard to tell a fan to be rational, but I just don't understand what point spread they actually would have been okay with at this point. And you got to start asking yourself, is it that or is it something else? Like, why are you wanting to blow everything up when you're in these games? It's one thing if you were watching that game. At any point, did you feel that if the offense can just get a little momentum here, we're right in this game? That seems how both games went.
Oh, yeah. And BYU game, I mean, we've got the ball in the red zone about to tie it. We're right there in that game. I mean, if we're 1 inch not being offside, I mean, we've tied the game and go into the fourth quarter. I mean, this last game, it's tied at 3. I mean, halfway through the third quarter, and we got to stop. And if we go score, I mean, we could take a lead. I mean, if you just get an inch more from the offense, I mean, just one touchdown and a field goal, I mean, this team is in the game. And I feel like that's within reach. I mean, as bad as the offense is, I feel like 10 points is attainable at some point. So it's going to be okay.
I got something else. Because I understand it's tough when you've scored 6 points in 2 weeks.
3.
But 3 points.
Don't give us too much credit, Cory.
My bad. 3 points in 2 weeks. That's tough. But would you have rather gotten? I mean, honestly, would you have felt better if it was 35-3, 6, 10, 14? would you have felt better if you were in a game that that you sat down to watch and said, we were never in this thing?
Yeah,
Because
no,
you're in these. And Ben, I think we're also missing something too. I think we're missing some context in this, in that BYU and Air Force are known as having good defenses, and they've proven it. But not
it's
every defense they play from here on out, the Cats aren't going to play defenses that are like BYU and Air Force all the time.
especially Air Force. I mean, we were kind of talking and texting this week or before the Air Force game. I mean, this is a team that led or was fourth in the nation in scoring defense last year and played a ton of Power Five teams. And they've gone now 9 straight games of allowing 20 points or less. And they're not playing Joe Schmoes. I mean, they're playing really good teams. I mean, they beat Baylor by 20 or 30 in a bowl game last year. I mean, this is a damn good team in Air Force, and we were right there with them all day. And like you said, I mean, a 14-0 loss, it sucks, but I would honestly rather lose 14-0 than lose 77-42 or something like that. I mean, because then your defense is a mess.
I mean, were you happy when Sam Houston was getting blown out in the semifinals by 40 points? Was that a better loss? Think about it. That's really what you got. I mean, you want to compare the two, right? There's
Yeah.
you a comparison. There is one thing though, Ben, that is no comparison, and that is what the players get when from the Cat Fund, and what the people giving their money to know that they're giving to the player, because 100% of that goes right back into them. Tell us a little more about the Cat Fund, man.
Yeah, Cat Fund NIL Collective solely supporting Sam Houston athletes with all of our money going directly to Sam Houston athletes. And so great way to get involved, even starting at $10 a month, to be able to help support these players, reward them for what they do on the field, reward them for sticking around for a couple of years, and get involved. I mean, it's a great way to get involved yourself. I mean, you get access to exclusive content and apparel and a bunch of different things. And we'll have more exclusive content up here in the next couple of days. I've been offline a couple of days, but that'll be back up and running. There's a lot of good stuff there. So yeah, great way to get involved, support athletes, and then also get something in return.
This is usually the part of the show, and we're going to do it again, where we explain how important it is to have a fan base that is connected to the school, and donors who are connected to the school, and sponsors connected to the school. And that's why we appreciate Taylor Andrus at Eternal Roofing and his entire crew so much. He is a Sam Houston grad. He's a Cat alum. And I promise you, he is not happy with this offense either. If you're listening, Taylor, I feel it, man. You are not happy. I know. None of us are happy in Catland, but we need to breathe. Taylor, need to breathe. But I know you know how to do that, because Ben, when you go to Eternal Roofing, you're getting certified marksmanship, the best materials, really more than what you bargained for the price.
Yeah, and you can breathe when you hire them on to do whatever it might be. Yeah, peace of mind with whatever it is you're hiring them to do. So yeah, whether it be Christmas lights, roofing, garage doors, whatever it is, you can breathe because you know it'll be a job well done.
Hey, we're getting into the Christmas light time.
I know I had to plug it. We got to find a way every episode to get it in there.
Yeah, because it is important. If you do need Christmas lights, you're in Hill Country or the Houston area, call or email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com, TAYLOR at eternalroofingtx.com. Or if you do want to call and you're in the Montgomery area, 936-215-8539, or in the Hill Country, 830-251-5673. You definitely want to call Eternal Roofing for all your roofing and general contracting needs, and just give them, call. Taylor needs some positivity, like all Cats fans. So that's what we need to start breeding around here, Ben, is some positivity. And unfortunately, we're not going to do it until the next leg of the podcast.
Yeah, we'll address the negative part of the offense here in this leg, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, because I don't like being negative, but you got to face it. It is the truth. The truth is not fun. The truth hurts. But if you don't look into the truth and figure out what's happening to cause this, it's going to lead you you're never going to get better, right?
Yeah.
So let's start peeling it off. Let's take it back a little bit. I sent a lot of stats to you yesterday from Pro Football Focus and some other things. And I want to start with where the problem is not. The problem is not on first down. Okay. Average first down gain against BYU, 4.8 yards. You're in 2nd and 5 on average, you're manageable. But the problem is against BYU on 3rd down and shorts, you were 0 for 3. You were 0 for 7 on 3rd and long. You were 2 for 14. So 2 for 7 on 3rd and medium. Those are the ones you have to convert. A 3rd and short needs to be converted at 80% of the time, and 3rd and medium needs to be at about 60% of the time. 3rd and longs are a crapshoot. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. But that same pattern, Ben, it continued against Air Force. With one exception, they didn't gain as much on first down. They got 3 yards because Air Force has a really good defense. But then when you got to 3rd downs and shorts, they were 0 for 2 or 2 for 5. Air Force was 4 for 5. That's where you want to know the difference between the win and the loss last week. You're 4 for 5 on 3rd and shorts, 2 for 5 on 3rd and shorts. It's not a defensive problem when the other team is 4th and 5 on 3rd and shorts. That's when the offensive staff should be able to call a play to get those yards. I think the problem right now is we have some issues with some play calling. And I think the problems here, Ben, I want to get your thoughts on this. I think we need to put equal parts players and coaches right now, because they're not all fully together. And I think it's obvious on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it's equal. I think it's players and coaches. And my view of it, just looking at the stats, and we were talking a little bit yesterday too, is week 1, we were pretty good on first down. I think we were almost 5 yards a play. And I think we were mixing it up pretty well, running it, passing it. But 3rd downs were just terrible, which you got to convert on 3rd down if you want to score points. Moving to Air Force this week, 11 out of 15 first down plays were runs. And almost all of them, I feel like, were a halfback draw. And so I feel like the lack of success at BYU, the lack of success early against Air Force, the play calling got really timid, especially on 1st and 2nd down. And so it turns into a lot of run, pass, because we're scared to air it out and get really timid, don't have a lot of confidence in the players. And so, I mean, we're backed up 3rd and 6+ on almost every single attempt against Air Force outside of a few attempts. And we just can't convert because it's 3rd and 6+ or so. So I think it started at BYU. 1st and 2nd down were fine, but we just couldn't convert on 3rd. And then it slowly converted over to Air Force, to where it just got really timid, just running the ball almost every first down, and it's backing you up and giving you 3rd and long. So that's what I'm seeing.
I look at some of these Pro Football Focus stats, and I'm looking at just full game, BYU and Air Force. The offense regressed tremendously from week 1 to week 2, Ben.
It did. It was like 100 yards less also. I mean, you could even see it just from a general perspective.
So against BYU, the offense was rated 54.5. Passing game was rated 60.6. Pass blocking 45.2. Those are numbers that can certainly be improved, especially pass blocking. But I feel like the offense and the passing game score it's one of those that has a lot of coaching to go with it as well. Last week, the offense rated 44.3, the passing game 39.3. Pass blocking even got that much worse, 20.1, which is at the bottom of the NCAA. You can't be down there. The receiving was still good. The running game was still good. The run blocking was actually a little better this week against Air Force than it was against BYU. It's like what you mentioned, that timid play calling, not trusting the players to execute. Seems like that might have infiltrated some of the play calling last week.
It definitely did. Like I said, I feel like every first down play was just a handoff up the middle, which puts you in 2nd and 7. And then that ends up being another run probably. And maybe you gain a yard or two. Maybe it's at the line of scrimmage, and then you're at 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, something like that. And then from there, it's just a crapshoot. I mean, we've really struggled to throw the ball, and like you said, the pass blocking was horrible. And you know you're not going to pick up a first down running the ball on 3rd and 7, and so you just kind of put yourself in no man's land from there. And that really timidness play calling, I think it affects the players. And I've said this for a couple weeks now. I feel like we just need to start airing it out. You've got to try to take the top off the defense. You've got to let Keegan or whoever the quarterback is or is going to be try to throw it downfield and get the ball out quick. I mean, you've got Ife Adeyi and Noah Smith, two of the fastest guys that you're going to find out there, especially Ife. And I feel like you aren't even playing into their game, and they're your two best weapons. And so you aren't utilizing your weapons. It's timid play calling, and I think that's just feeding into an offense that already is lacking some talent.
Well, and we need to get into that now. I'm not going to give out names of players here at these different positions. If you're really that interested, you can go look it up. We all know who the quarterback is. We all know it's been Keegan Shoemaker. How many pressures has he had? How many hurries has he had? And what's been the percentage? Well, of the times he's been hurried, 5% of the time it's been Keegan's fault. I take that as holding the ball too long. That's actually not bad. That's workable. 90% of the time it's the offensive line. And when you really break it into it, 35% of the time, the left tackle is giving up a hurry. If it's a hurry, 35% of the time it's a left tackle. From there, it's left guard or right tackle. So when you look at center and right guard, and they're not bad. They're done well as far as that goes, but it seems like that left side of our offensive line when we're passing the ball is a problem, and that's a side that's really got to pick it up, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we all know that Keegan hasn't done an incredible job at quarterback. There's definitely been a lot of room left to work on and improve. But like you said, only 5% of the hurries were on him. So I mean, the man's just getting chased and run after, and it's really hard. And like we said last week, 60% completion percentage is where you want to be. And I mean, he's sitting between 55 and 56 right now, and it's not incredible, but it's not horrific. I mean, he had a 57% completion percentage this last week, but he only threw the ball 14 times and 44 yards on 8 completions. Kind of seems like he's just running for his life and ducking it down and to whoever's open, and we're not pushing it up the field. I just feel like it's so timid, and we haven't tried at all to push the ball up field. There's only one throw I can think of that was even 10 plus yards up the field, and you're not going to win when everything is at the line of scrimmage, whether that be a pass or a throw. So it's a combination of a bunch of different things: offensive line, play calling, lack of ability, lack of blocking, whatever it might be. But we've got to do something to figure it out.
Okay, Ben, how about I propose we think of this like a checkers match. And I say checkers because I have no idea how to play chess. So I'm going to think of it like a checkers match, right? It feels to me like the offense is very predictable.
Yes.
So if that's the case, the only way to not be predictable is to be unpredictable. How you do that? Whatever you've been doing, do the opposite.
Yes.
Right? Like if it's 3rd and 3 and you look at stats and you go, every 3rd and 3 we've had, I'm running the ball 20 times, I'm passing the ball 5. That's a problem. Yes. That needs to be 10 and 10 because you're not keeping them off balance. So if they're expecting run, pass. If they're expecting pass, run. If you run the ball on 11 of your first 15 plays on an offensive drive, they're going to load the box and stop you. And also another thing is adjustments at the quarterback position. If you see him load the box, take the top off of it. He's got to have the freedom to do that, Ben. They cannot have, it's not fair to Keegan. It's not fair to put blame on Keegan if you're handicapping him and not allowing him to take the top off the defense. One thing, if he can't, then you need a new quarterback. But if he's the starter, I'm assuming he can. You have to trust him and open up that offense. I feel that's one of the things that they've never done with Keegan, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's just been very vanilla. That's for sure. And you've got to be more unpredictable. Like I said, running the ball 11 out of 15 times on first down, never throwing it more than 10 plus yards up the field. Let's make first down calls 50-50. Let's push the ball upfield at least a couple times a game. And I think the reason why I am okay if we want to give Grant Gunnell a look is I think we all know Grant Gunnell's arm talent is probably superior to Keegan Shoemaker. And I think we need to look at pushing the ball upfield. And I think Grant could be the guy to do that. I'm not going to say he's going to set the world on fire, change everything with the offensive line struggles. I don't know if that's even possible, but I think it's at least worth a look. I mean, you got to give him a look because he's a guy that can definitely push the ball upfield. And if you don't think Keegan can do that, you've got to try somebody else. Like you said, if he can't do it, and that's the reason why we aren't doing it, then you've got to put somebody else in there.
Yep. I 100% agree. But you know who's never vanilla?
Eternal Roofing.
You darn Skippy, Ben. You read my mind. This is crazy, man. Eternal Roofing is not vanilla because when you go to Eternal Roofing, you're going to get the best stuff. You get CertainTeed shingles known for their superior weather resistance, exceptional longevity, stunning aesthetic appeal. But there's other things. Like they specialize in commercial roofing too, Ben. Eternal Roofing has the ability to accommodate your HVAC system and other roof equipment while ensuring minimal disruption to your operations during installation or repair. I don't know about you, Ben, but if I'm not getting disrupted at work, I'm a lot happier.
Oh, trust me, me too. I think we all are. That's for sure.
So if you need something done with your roof commercially, this is the company to call, Eternal Roofing. Call them, email them. The email is Taylor, Taylor, at eternalroofingtx.com. If you're in the Montgomery area, give them a call at 936-215-8539. And in the Hill Country, 830-251-5673. They are proud supporters of the Bearcats. And I think that's the one thing right now we need a whole lot of is these proud Bearcat supporters, Ben.
We do. That's for sure. And Taylor is definitely one. We were talking to him last week about the team. We know he cares about the team. We know he listens. And they're not vanilla. Corey, what would you call them? A Neapolitan or something like that? They got the chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. What kind of ice cream are we looking at here? What kind of ice cream are they? Neapolitan, a little bit of everything?
Look, I see a setup. I know a setup. I think when I see one, Ben, no, I don't need to get banned off podcasts, man. I am a crazy flavor guy. I tell you what, how about this Dr. Pepper, man? They're the Dr. Pepper.
Oh, it's good. Bluebell, yeah, the Bluebell.
That one's actually pretty good. I
liked it.
Yeah, I'm not one that I like crazy mixed up flavors sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Dr. Pepper one was really good.
I don't even drink soda, and I really like the Dr. Pepper one. So that's how everything Bluebell makes, I feel like, is just gold. I mean, they never miss.
Yeah, well, they do when they have to shut down the plant and clean, but we're not.
A little bit of yeah, we won't get into that.
Thankfully, we're not sponsored by Bluebell.
No.
I don't see that one happen anytime soon.
Yeah. Hey, if we did that, maybe next year.
All right. Anyway, we're getting into the Conference USA where Ben and I see Sam Houston right now, 2 weeks in. Where do they slot in Conference USA? Ben, I'm curious, and you had no idea this question's coming. Compared to where they are now, do you have them, or you have them higher in the conference than you thought, lower, or maybe even about the same?
I'm gonna say right at the same. I had them. I had us at 6-6 in the year, and what was that? 6-3 in conference play,
I believe so.
Which is probably gonna put us at That put
No,
us at
because you had,
5-3
yeah.
in conference play. So yeah, that's putting us fourth or fifth, probably at 5 or 3. So I think that's still very attainable. I think we know a little more about these teams now than we did a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I think there's no reason why we can't be a fourth or fifth place team at 5-3. And that's kind of still where I have us. I don't think we're going to be first or second, but I definitely don't think we're going to be eighth or ninth. So yeah, right there in the middle, as I thought, I think.
Okay. With that said, let's go through them team by team, game
Yep.
by game. Right now, you've got Jacksonville State. They're the first conference opponent coming up September 28th. It is at home, which will be nice. It's a big game. I believe that's the one Craven is going to be at as
I
well.
think so. Yeah.
I
National
believe it
TV.
is. Yeah, it's on TV. That it's a big game. Jacksonville State beat UTEP by 3. They beat East Tennessee State 49-3. They lost to Coastal Carolina. It was respectable 30-16. Does Sam Houston win that?
I still think we do. The UTEP win was nice, but we'll get into UTEP. They have not looked very good so far. But yeah, they held in there with Coastal Carolina, which you could kind of compare maybe to an Air Force or a BYU, and lost by 2 touchdowns or so. So I think those teams are really evenly matched. I think I give Sam Houston the advantage because we'll have had a bye week, and then we'll play Houston, and then we'll play 4 days later at home. They haven't had a bye week yet. They'll go Coastal Carolina, Eastern Michigan, a 4-day break, and then on the road. And so I think we're going to catch them at a good time, 5 weeks into the season. And I think it's a pretty even match, but I'm still going to give us the advantage because of just kind of the logistics of things.
Okay, the next one at Liberty. Liberty is pretty much good. They're what we thought they were, but they've only played at home. They won 34-24 over Bowling Green and then beat New Mexico State 33-17. They're 2-0. Where do you see when Sam Houston heads to Lynchburg?
Yeah, this was a team that I think, regardless of where they were, I think I had us losing. There were a lot of question marks with the new head coach and just so much roster turnover, a new QB. But man, they've looked pretty good. I wouldn't say they've set the world on fire, but that's 2 quality FBS wins by double digits. And so I think they're definitely headed in the right direction. And I still feel like that's probably a loss for us, and we'll probably slot underneath them.
That next week, the Cats head to New Mexico State, to Las Cruces, New Mexico. What do you know about New Mexico State right now? I think if there's one team you might move, this would be the one, but where? They lost to UMass 41-30. Then they demolished Western Illinois 58-21, lost to Liberty 33-17, which is respectable. I'm curious where you have New Mexico State right now.
Yeah, this one and Louisiana Tech were my 2 biggest toss-ups coming into the year. I remember I talked about that a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I mean, they looked okay at Liberty, but that UMass loss, I mean, I can't get over that yet until they really show me something. I still think we have a slight advantage, and I think we'll probably be just a tick above them. And I think it could go either way, but I think I'll lean with us taking a win there and just being a step above them, just like 1 step above them.
The first of 3. The FIU is not a conference game this year. It is, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, because on the Conference USA website, they don't have it starred as a conference game this year. So that's what I found a little crazy. But they do come home with 3 straight home games. 2 of them are conference, starting with Florida International, who lost on the road to La Tech 22-17. Then they went home and they beat the Maine Bears 14-12, and then they beat North Texas 46-39. And I don't think I was impressed by either one of those. I think Florida State or Florida International is where I thought they would be.
Still a very winnable game. Yeah, did not look very good against Maine. I mean, almost losing to an average FCS team in Maine. I guess you could call them average. And yeah, North Texas has just looked terrible so far this year. I mean, a FBS win is an FBS win, but they've looked horrible. So, I mean, great to get a win, but I still think there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to win that game.
Then you get UTEP. They lost to Jacksonville State by 3, 17-14. They lost on the road to an angry Northwestern team, 38-7. They beat UIW 28-14. I would like to throw out in defense of my Cardinals that UIW, that was their first game of the season, while UTEP had already had that out of the way. I think that plays a big factor,
It
especially
does.
when you're talking FCS versus FBS there. They go to Arizona this week. Man, if I'm going to put UTEP in a category, it's at the bottom of the state of Texas right now in the FBS.
I totally agree, and I think that there's been a biggest disappointment so far. It's probably UTEP losing to Jacksonville State in their first game as an FBS program. You don't want to be that team. Squeaking, I guess you could maybe say squeaking by UIW. They've had a lot of changes. I mean, that's an okay win, but man, I think a lot of people know what's going on at Northwestern. That team is horrible, just absolutely horrible right now. I mean, by far the worst Power Five team, and you lose by 31. I mean, that's a really bad showing right there. So yeah, I think there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to beat UTEP.
Okay. After a home game against Kennesaw State, you go on the road to La Tech. La Tech, so far, they beat FIU. They lost 38-14 to SMU. Then they beat Northwestern State, FCS team, 51-21. I don't know if I know anything much about La Tech yet, Ben, but we will this week when they host North Texas. Because if that one's closer than it should be, then maybe La Tech is down there more along that FIU area.
Right. And I think in our prediction episode a couple weeks ago, this was the other game I said that was toss up, and I gave it to Louisiana Tech, and it's on the road. So I think I'll still give them an advantage. I think it's a toss up game for us. It could go either way. But yeah, we don't know a ton about them. I mean, SMU's really good this year. And they looked okay, didn't look very good there. Barely beat FIU at home. So we don't know a ton about that team just yet. And Cory, you brought up Kennesaw. Are you still feeling like Kennesaw is going to beat Sam Houston after they just lost to an FCS team and were struggling with the D2 team for 3/4 a couple weeks ago?
I have no idea what Kennesaw has done, to be honest with you, man.
I'm pretty sure they lost to Charleston Southern this last week, and then they were playing Temecula, I think was the name of the school, and it was a 7-point game going to the fourth quarter, I believe it was. They're redshirting a ton of guys, so I won't count a ton of it against them. We saw what that did to us last year, but I
Okay.
know I wanted to revisit that with you and see what you thought.
No, that because it sounds like they are, if they're redshirting a lot of guys, they're kind of doing the strategy that Keeler had. Yeah, I think that's one Sam Houston should win at that point. I don't see any reason why they would circle that one on the schedule to have everybody play.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know their exact redshirt strategy, but yeah, they have not looked very good this year, and I just wanted to see what your thoughts were a couple weeks in.
Well, a lot of that too is that move to FCS. The players know it's coming. The fans know it's
Right.
coming.
Yeah.
There could be some of that, but we go after that at Western Kentucky, and Western Kentucky beat South Florida 41-24, beat Houston Christian 52-22. They play Ohio State this week. Then they have Troy. Those are two hard games.
Right. That
I'd
one
say
got
no,
flexed
Troy
to
might not be. Ohio State is.
Troy.
Uh,
Troy actually had the nation's longest win streak coming into this last weekend, but then they lost to Kansas State. So, and it just got flexed to ESPN2 today, I believe it was. So that should be an okay game with Troy.
Troy struggled with Stephen F. Austin a couple weeks ago
They
too.
did. Yeah, I think it was only what, a 17-point win or something like that.
And if it was, yeah, and it wasn't that way until late. It was
Yeah.
something that SFA provided some help, but that's a good Troy team that they went up against. I'm just not sure if Troy can compete with a Western Kentucky. Is kind of where I'm at with that one. But I
Yeah.
think Western Kentucky and Liberty are probably two of the top in the conference right now still.
Yeah, they're definitely two of the top three. And with Western Kentucky, I think that's going to be a fascinating matchup. I mean, their offense, I mean, they've put up 40 and 50 plus points the first two games. We know how good Austin Reed is, and it'll be a really good test for our offense to kind of see what they can do and how that matches up. I don't think their defense is as strong. I mean, Houston Christian scored 20 something on them, and USF put up a decent amount of points. So not saying we win, but I think it'll be a really good test for our defense to see what they look like against them.
No, I can't go there, Ben. I cannot do it. We're gonna move on. Final game back home. I'm not doing any FCS comparisons to this team. I'm not doing it. We're not gonna. There's no transitive property, Ben. I'm not playing that game.
Right.
I'm not doing it, man. All right. Last game of the season, Middle Tennessee State at home. Middle Tennessee State lost to an Alabama team that we once thought was good, but then they just got run by Texas at home last week. So we're not sure about Alabama. Then they lost to Missouri 23-19. All right.
Yeah.
They're not bad, Ben. They're not bad.
Didn't I tell you a couple weeks ago they are extremely hot and cold? They'll lose to James Madison by 40, and then they'll beat Miami by 20 or whatever. It just, you never know what kind of team you're going to get with Middle Tennessee.
Well, hey, man, you never know what kind of team you're going to get with Alabama now, right?
Yeah, it's crazy enough to say it. I mean, yeah,
It's
that's
over.
what it is. No, I wouldn't say that. Whoa.
If you're crazy enough to, well, I mean, if I'm going to be crazy enough to say it, I might as well go full blast, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to go all in, right, Corey? Own it. But yeah, I think
I'm not going to half-ass anything, Ben.
And I think looking back over everything, I think Liberty and Western Kentucky are your two for sure losses. I think your Middle Tennessees and your Louisiana Techs are your 50-50s, maybe leaning towards the other team. And then FIU, New Mexico State, Jacksonville State, and UTEP, I think are games that are definitely winnable. So yeah, 4th or 5th place, I think that's right in line with where I have us.
Okay. Let me just go through here. Liberty, nope. Jacksonville State. I think I had Sam Houston, I think, winning that one.
You did.
That might be the one that I would switch right now.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with it just based on the logistics thing and logistics part of it. But I think it's close to 50-50.
La Tech is just hard to read. So I'm gonna say right now they're better than La Tech. And also because we just don't like those people in Ruston, right? And
No.
that's how it works.
Right.
Western Kentucky, no. Middle Tennessee State, I don't see that as a toss-up. I see them as better.
Probably.
When it comes to that. So there I've got 4. That puts them down in 5th. Florida International, I think they win. New Mexico State, I'm not sold on now. I think that one could be tough.
Oh, yeah.
For Sam Houston. So I'm going to say probably closer to 6th.
Hey, I've got
6 of 9. Dude, if you're 6 of 9 your first season in Conference USA, it's got to be successful.
Yeah, I've got us 5th, maybe 4th. So putting us at 6th, I don't think that's anything outlandish. I think that's reasonable.
I can't be attacked as a hater again.
No, not this time. I think we've forgiven you for your first mess up. No, I'm kidding.
Ben, I appreciate you as always joining us, man. It's a fun time for most of us. It's not a fun time for you because you need to heal up quickly. That pain is not something any of us should be dealing with, man.
I'm just hoping the offense heals a little quicker than my arm. That's what I'm really hoping. The arm will heal. Let's hope the offense heals a little quicker.
I'm with you on that. I will agree with that one. We also want to say thank you to everyone listening, everyone watching. Without you, none of this is possible. Until next time, Ben, take us out.
I'm going to say eat 'em up, Cats, and let's go score some points these next couple weeks.
You're darn right.